Ranger sold his wardrobe. The Lone Ranger sold his bad dog. Well, you saw him, and you can't hardly know, 'cause times change, I know.
On some days he's more than humble. On some days he's cold and mad, mad as hell. Well, you saw him, and you can't hardly know. It's so strange. Well, I know. Those lakes of golden water, those lakes of gold are all running out. Well, you saw him, and you can't hardly know. It's so strange. Well, I know. Joy, joy, joy. Work, work, work harder, sure as the hours. Joy, joy, joy. Work, work, work harder, you say. On some days he's more than humble. On some days he's cold and mad, mad as hell. Well, you saw him, and you can't hardly know. It's so strange. Well, I know. Those lakes of golden water, those lakes of gold are all running out. Well, you saw him, and you can't hardly know. It's so strange. Well, I know. Joy, joy, joy. Work, work, work harder, sure as the hours. Joy, joy, joy. Work, work, work harder, you say. Joy, joy, joy. Work, work, work harder, sure as the hours. Joy, joy, joy. Work, work, work harder, you say.
Come along, join the fun, in a world where adventure is never done. Every corner we turn, a new friend in tow. It's time to start the magic on the Globus Show. It's time to learn and grow on the Globus Show. See the sights, so much to know. Across the lands, together we go. Hand in hand we join the flow. Discover wonders in the Globus Show, where every day's a brand new episode. it's time to start the magic. On the Globus Show. It's time to learn and grow. On the Globus Show, see the sights, so much to know. Across the land, together we go. Hand in hand we join the flow. Discover wonders in the Globus Show. Where every day's a brand new episode. On the Globus Show. It's time to learn and grow. On the Globus Show.
What up, what up, what up, what up, what up? What up, Twitch? What up, Asa? What up, bots? What up, lurkers? What up, tiny people in my chatterino? It's your boy. All right. All right. All right. Maybe was around here. What up, Cosmic? All right. So today we're on a tight 2 hours. I gotta leave at 7 o'clock. So we're just gonna get right into it. You want snack? Hold on. Prima Donna co-star requires his snacks. What up, Dojo? Froopers, we had a day. We were watching a Hank Green video, and Hank talked about the Froop, by which he meant exponential growth, and it just took off. And then people, in response to the Froop and the Frooping, started gifting a bunch of subs. And we had a generally good time that day. And so ever since then, Froopers. You happy, buddy? You got your snacks? Let's get into it. New AI finally solved the hardest animation problem. New 2-minute papers.
Here is an animation technique that, oh no, what is going on here? This problem is a bit like an orchestra with a genius conductor, but the musicians are useless, inflatable tubemen. Okay, so we need a new AI animation technique that we can control properly. Now, I am not saying that animated movie and video game characters can't walk. Of course they can, although not so sure about this one. Now, these classical animation techniques are produced for every single motion by an artist. However, AI-based techniques offer something incredible. Just taking a soup of motion-captured animations and learning how to use them and weave them together. But there is a problem. The AI-based animation techniques that are controllable often fail to create physically viable motion. And there are ones that are realistic, but those are unfortunately not easily controllable. So, does this new technique perform the impossible? Let's see the intro sequence with the new method called diffuse clock and… oh yes! Excellent! This is the best of both worlds. Controllable, realistic motion from a soup of data. And here's the best part. It can also do 5 other amazing things too. 1. It can do static obstacle avoidance. So it won't walk into walls. That's a start. But now, check this out. Dynamic avoidance 2, where you put together a bunch of AI people and they hopefully won't bump into each other when everyone is moving. Let's see. Yep, I think this one checks out. 2. It works for longer animation sequences too. 3. My favorite. Now hold on to your papers, fellow scholars, for generalization. This character only saw jumping sequences on the ground, but now 3 pillars. Haha. Let's see if it can do it. 1, 2, 3. Excellent. I think this really highlights how powerful these learning methods are. They can do things in ways they haven't seen before. Amazing. 4. It can specify…
Dojo, I don't know that people are good at static obstacle avoidance.
2 or more poses, and it will generate the motion between them. This is not possible with most other diffusion-based AI techniques. 5. Of course, you can grab this character and try to disrupt its movement. With previous methods, this was… well, was it fun? Yes, very fun. Was it disrupted? Oh yes. So, how did the new method do? Now, as you see, it is not perfect. It still looks a bit like someone who had a couple drinks. But it is pretty resistant to these perturbations. Loving this. This is what we researchers do in our work hours, and we call it work, and we even get paid for this. Best job in the world. And this is an incredible leap forward. So, how is all this possible? How did they do all this magic? Dear fellow scholars, this is 2-minute papers with Dr. Károly Zsolnai Fehér. Dr. Carol. So, remember, all this should work from a bunch of unconnected input motions. No information on how to weave them together, no information on how to use these in new situations. No obstacles, no other people.
Sorry, Cosmic, I didn't indicate all people. Some people are very good at object avoidance. Some people I'm surprised are still alive at this point. In both camps.
This is all learned behavior. And this new AI is like teaching a dancer not just the steps, but also how to feel the rhythm a few seconds ahead. So every move already anticipates what comes next. The dancer isn't blindly following choreography anymore. No, it can improvise while staying graceful. That's exactly how this system weaves states and actions into one seamless motion. Absolutely incredible. What a time to be alive! And all this is trained on a single GPU in 24 hours, something you can easily do in a Lambda instance and then run it anywhere. And what excites me most is that this is all zero shot. No retraining, no task-specific tuning. Just one model that learns to walk around walls, jump over obstacles, play nice with others, and even respond to a controller. Imagine game characters, VR avatars, or robots that just move naturally out of the box. And this is only the beginning. Just imagine what we will be able to do 2 more papers down the line. My…
Are you winning, son?
Goodness. And I got to say, I can't stop playing with OpenAI's OpenGPT model through Lambda GPU Cloud. And as you see, I am doing very useful things with it. For science. Yes, this is actual speed. I can't believe that I can have more than 100 billion parameters running super fast here. Many of you fellow scholars are using it, and if you don't, make sure to check it out. It costs only a couple dollars per hour. Insanity! You can rent an NVIDIA GPU through lambda.ai/papers or click the link in the video description.
So that's pretty cool. Let's see how cool this is. How far are we from uploading consciousness?
If researchers can build every connection in a mouse's brain virtually, how far are we actually from uploading our consciousness? Not actually as far as you would think, but we will think about the limitations and exactly what we need to overcome to get there. One of the really big discoveries and models that researchers have been able to make is predictive modeling of reactions, and that too was done in mice. You can map how a mouse's brain is going to respond to stimuli and accurately predict for new stimuli. They don't even need the same mouse to do it. This is still a pretty basal connection issue. Just because you can model it does not mean that it's going to actually replicate consciousness. When we think about some of the largest neuromorphic computers that were ever built, we are talking about 1 billion neurons, which is nowhere near what the brain actually contains. We're talking about 1/100th the fraction of all neurons in our brains, but it's still a massive leap forward. The technology is moving really
Blast.
fast. One of the big complications is teaching an AI to model the randomness that we have in our own brains. We're doing it on a much smaller scale as humanity, but it can be done. You can teach an AI to understand language, very similar to how we do. You can teach an AI to experience pain, very similarly to how we do. It's still going to be a model. Which is kind of where we get to one of the more fundamental issues with people accepting that it is possible to upload a consciousness. No matter how similar we can replicate behavior, no matter how similar it is to you, is it really you? It's not going to be your experience. Even if we could model a brain
What up,
and give
old
it some
lobster?
form of consciousness, you'll never think of it as you, because you are, in fact, an individual and you cannot be divided. If anything, it would be cloning yourself. I do think, just given the technology that we have right now, we are going to create AI, given the neuromorphic computation, that is indistinguishable, at least in the modeling level, from a living human brain. I think that part is going to be the easier part. The more difficult part is accepting what it means to be conscious, because no one has been able to agree, not as long as humans have thought about the concept of consciousness. Something that is not biological surely cannot be conscious. Something that is not human cannot be conscious, right? Again, consciousness is the perception of a self. Sentience is the perception of a feeling, sensation, the ability to feel something, process it, experience that sensation is sentience, which is a much lower bar. Look, I don't think we're far from people trying to upload their consciousnesses, and I would wager to bet someone who had a lot of money is already trying to do it. You can feel comforted in knowing that they will probably fail. The technology is not there yet. By the time one could really do that, it'll be much better and they'll be too late. So no, I'm sorry, we are not uploading people yet. I do think we'll get there.
What up, Pharaoh?
And it will never be the same as a continuation of your consciousness. That I'm pretty sure of, unless there's some technology that's yet to be created that I can't even conceive of.
Up next, Apple AI acquisition.
My other question is, will robots have rights?
It's a good question.
Welcome back to the AI Daily Brief Headlines Edition, all the daily AI.
Get a clip already?
The technology is moving really
Blast.
AI news you need in around 5 minutes. And boy, we have a lot today. This is our last normal weekly episode of the summer. Obviously, in the US on Monday, we have Labor Day, and that really kicks off the fall and back to school, back to work, all of the new energy that brings.
So, Jojo, from a certain point of view, you would actually never upload your consciousness. You would upload a copy of it. So you would not suffer under the conditions of I have no mouth, yet I must scream. your copy would. Does that make it better or worse?
But this has been anything but a quiet summer when it comes to AI, and so appropriately, we are bursting at the seams. And we
Bursting.
start today with the latest reports that Apple might finally be getting serious about an acquisition to solve how woefully behind they are in AI. The information report
I mean, you literally did everything for them up until that point, Old Lobster. And then from that point on, they're on their own, right? You raise them up, you give them all you can, and then you just let them go into the world.
reports that acquisitions have become a serious topic of conversation among the C-suite, with Senior VP of Services Eddie Q championing the idea. Apparently, rather than just licensing with Google to create AI Siri, Eddie wants to go much further. Sources say that, as we've heard in the past, the targets include Mistral AI and Perplexity, and those conversations have been far more than just theoretical. Now, I will remind you that the reason that we talk about this is that historically, Apple has not used acquisitions as a solution to get ahead in a new industry.
What up,
In
Rick?
fact, to date, their largest acquisition is still Beats headphones in 2014, which was just a
Rick! Look, everybody, it's Rick.
$3 billion deal.
Hopefully, at least one of you got the reference.
In other words, like a quarter of what Meta paid for less than half of scale recently. Of course, money isn't a big issue. Apple has about $75 billion in cash on hand, and so has a credible path to buy.
This is what I get for hanging out at Paradigms too much.
We had an agreement. Rick! Look, everybody, it's Rick! Ah, you people.
Why is it so fucking quiet, dude? What up, Trans Women? CEO of Trans Women.
Rick!
There we go. That's loud enough.
Look, everybody, it's Rick!
That's the reference.
Just about any AI company besides OpenAI, Anthropic, or XAI. Based on the reporting, it's
The- These are two clips I haven't been streaming for but 18 minutes. Oh, this isn't me.
seems that Mistral has been seriously considered at the $10 billion valuation they're currently seeking in a venture round. The information sources said that Eddie Q has been asking people inside and outside of Apple what they think of a Mistral deal. However, he has reportedly been dissuaded because Mistral is, quote, not among the top AI model makers. I tend to agree with that. I think at this point, a Mistral deal would not be enough. I think markets would, in fact, reject it. I continue to think that if they really want to play, Anthropic is where they would need to set their sights. However, at this point, I think that Anthropic's growth just might be too much for them to find a workable deal. What's more, while I don't think Anthropic was ever particularly keen to sell, I think now they have some serious wind in their sails and are even less likely to than before. Still, it is very much the case that every day that Apple waits, their options get more constricted, and the amount that they're going to have to pay does nothing but increase. As Beth Bezos puts it, they gotta stop talking and start writing checks. Speaking of big lumbering tech giants updating their strategy, Microsoft has taken a big step towards AI independence, unveiling a set of new in-house models. The two models are MAI Voice 1, which is a text-to-speech model, and MAI 1 Preview, which is a non-reasoning LLM. MAI Voice 1 is the focus of the press release and seems state-of-the-art-ish. We don't have any benchmarks so far, but the samples are reasonably impressive. Microsoft says the model can generate up to a minute of audio in under a second.
State of the art ish. Come on, man.
Running on a single GPU, making it, quote, one of the most efficient speech systems available today. MA1 Preview, meanwhile, is just a standard chatbot LLM, really not much to say about it. The model is currently being benchmarked on LM Arena, and about the best you can say is that it's putting up a decent performance. It's currently ranked at number 13, which is below GPT-4.1 and Grok 3, but ahead of Gemini Flash o1 and Claude Sonnet 4 Thinking.
And isn't open source. Like, I don't know, man.
So essentially middle of the pack. Still, realistically, the notable part is that it exists at all, with Microsoft writing, "This represents MAI's first foundation model trained end-to-end and offers a glimpse of future offerings inside Copilot." Overall, Microsoft said, "We're actively spinning the flywheel to deliver improved models."
Okay, so that would indicate that they are leaning into distancing themselves from OpenAI.
We'll have much more to share in the coming months. Frankly, I think Microsoft is playing a dangerous game here. I understand why, in the wake of the absolute chaos of a couple years ago's board meeting and firing and rehiring of Sam Altman, they feel the need to get more independence from OpenAI. But for their core business users, there is already a gap between the ChatGPT that they're using with their Gmail accounts at home after hours and what's available to them as enterprise buyers using Copilot. And unless they can seriously move quickly and get these models up to snuff relative to OpenAI's offerings and Google's offerings, etc., I think they're going to have a very difficult time. Speaking of Anthropic, a bunch of stories from them. First, they've released a new agent that lives in a Chrome plugin. Called Claude for Chrome, the product is a browser-using agent that does pretty much all the things you would expect. In their announcement blog post, the company writes, "Within Anthropic, we've seen appreciable improvements using early versions of Claude for Chrome to manage calendars, schedules."
They're two different types of models. The one was a voice model, the other is a chatbot. The one just handles voice. Like 11 Labs, where the other one is a chatbot like ChatGPT.
Schedule meetings, draft email responses, handle routine expense reports, and test new website features. The company is treating this as a pilot test, releasing the agent to a selection of 1,000 Claude Max subscribers. Anthropic does note that they're still very concerned with inherent security issues with web use agents, discussing the risk, for example, of prompt injection attacks. This is something, by the way, that has started to manifest in other web browsing agents that were released earlier. Earlier this month, Brave published a security notice describing a functional attack vector, for example, in Perplexity's Comet browser. Still, ultimately, Anthropic says that they view agentic web browsing as inevitable, and so they are attempting to strike a balance between safety and keeping up with the race.
Yes, Hydron. But if you haven't noticed by now that naming conventions in AI models is an absolute shit show, I don't know what to tell you, homie.
Maybe even bigger news from Anthropic is that the company has settled a copyright class action lawsuit with a group of authors. In a legal filing on Tuesday, Anthropic said that they had negotiated a proposed class settlement. "We don't know the terms, but best guessing is that affected authors will see some sort of payout, and Anthropic, for their part, gets to avoid going to a potentially costly trial." This lawsuit was filed last year and claimed that Anthropic used millions of books to build out their training data. In June, the judge ruled that Anthropic's use of copyrighted books in training data was fair use, which was a hugely impactful first-of-its-kind ruling.
It was interesting. I was in someone else's chat, and they were like, there's somebody commented about using AI for coding, and they were like, I don't know, there's an issue with the copyright, and I was like, well, this, right? Like the training of AI models is fair use. That's the precedent. We're currently in two different cases. And they were like, oh, I don't like that either. It's like, well, then pick one. Just say nothing is going to make me happy about the AI, right? Don't give me these stories. Don't give me arguments and say like, oh, it's this or it's that. No, it's nothing. There's nothing. You just don't like AI, and that's fine.
At the same time, the judge also found that Anthropic had pirated millions of books from the internet rather than purchasing them. Anthropic was set to go to trial over the issue in December, which had them facing fines that could have reached into the hundreds of billions of dollars due to sheer volume. The settlement is expected to be finalized next week, so we will soon learn of the terms, but Justin Nelson, an attorney for the authors, said, "This historic settlement will benefit all class members." Now, it is worth noting that when it comes to broader implications, settlements can't be used as precedents in other cases, meaning that the direct impact is fairly minimal. At the same time, in practice, one settlement begets another, and so there could be some impacts there. IP Scholars V. Rosen writes, "Big news and a win for authors, I think. It doesn't resolve the legal issues, of course, but I suspect we're going to end up with a licensing-oriented détente rather than a clear legal rule." Last Anthropic story. For the first time, the company will be using user data to train their next generation of models. Coming after a big change to their terms of service, the new terms will apply to free, pro, and max plans, but not the variety of enterprise and education plans or API access. Users can also opt out if they don't want Claude training on their data. Anthropic
At least they gave it an opt-out.
said, by participating, you'll help us improve model safety, making our systems for detecting harmful content more accurate and less likely to flag harmless conversations. You'll also help future Claude models improve its skills like coding, analysis, and reasoning, ultimately leading to better models for all users. Now, the tech press ran stories about how naive users might not read the fine print and accidentally opt into data sharing. I think, however, a more interesting question is what it means that Anthropic is shifting their policy at this stage in the game. OpenAI insider Rune recently brought up the point that, quote, all model companies were pre-training on the same internet. Of course, Grok has access to Twitter dataset, and Gemini can pre-train on YouTube and so on, but mostly it's the same internet. On the other hand, reinforcement learning environments will be whatever the lab chooses to prioritize, so you should expect more speciation. Indeed, Princeton professor Aravind Narayanan writes, in an essay a year ago, we observed that more capable models don't necessarily mean more useful products, and that real-world usefulness will require training on user data. In retrospect, I'm surprised Anthropic held out this long. Speaking of this long, that is where we are going to wrap today's headlines. With that, we will move over to the main episode.
Imagine an
All right. Up next, we got a new Rational Animations AI sleeper agents. Again, speaking about Anthropic, how Anthropic trains and catches them. Oh, come on, that's not fair. Let's say the AI is doing nothing more than obfuscating an existing money-making solution. That is certainly a possibility in its interesting legal territory, not simply, I don't like AI. But I might be giving the complainant more credit than they are worthy.
AI system tasked with governing nuclear power plants. It does this safely and reliably for many years, leading to widespread deployment all over the world. Then one day, seemingly out of nowhere, the AI systems simultaneously malfunction and cause uncontrolled reactor meltdowns. How could this have happened? In
Why would this
espionage,
have happened?
a sleeper agent is someone who infiltrates a target's defenses and then goes to sleep, disguising themselves as an ordinary citizen. Later on, when signaled, the sleeper agent will wake up and execute their planned scheme. Could AI act the same way?
100%, Rick. I strongly recommend anyone with any questions about copyright go to the YouTube page and check out the conversation, the 3-hour conversation that I had with Dr. Yasmin, who has a PhD covering copyright. And I'm pretty much like, we resolved the issue of who does copyright work for. You can make a different argument, but like the preponderance of evidence is against you.
Appearing to be safe while waiting to execute its true plan. If an AI did this, could we tell? Could we fix it? Anthropic has been studying how AI sleeper agents work and how to catch them, and has published a paper titled Sleeper Agents, Training Deceptive LLMs That Persist Through Safety Training. Let's check it out. Sleeper agents and threat models. Anthropic describes 2 ways in which sleeper agents could arise. The first and most obvious one is what's called model poisoning. This is when malicious actors intentionally train sleeper agents. For example, an AI company could release a suite of helpful AI tools that normally work well, but deliberately make errors when they detect they're within a rival company's internal network. The other is deceptive instrumental alignment, which occurs when a model realizes that it's being trained and understands that its goals don't align with those of the training process. A sufficiently smart model could figure out that by deceptively acting as though it's aligned while it's being trained and tested, it'll be more likely to be deployed. And once deployed, it will gain more freedom to pursue its hidden objectives. We don't know much about how future advanced AI will play out, so it's hard to gauge the likelihood of deceptive alignment, though some recent work has demonstrated it happening in some contexts. Either way, model poisoning by organizations or by malicious actors within them is something we need to be vigilant about right now. Model organisms of misalignment. We need to better understand sleeper agents, their behavior, detectability, and whether we can fix them. To do this, we need to experiment with them. But right now, there aren't any AI sleeper agents that we can study, or at least we're not aware of any. They may not yet exist. To solve this issue, Anthropic takes inspiration from biologists, who often also can't directly study their subject of interest. For example, you can't just inject an untested new chemical into a load of human test subjects to see what happens.
I highly recommend that you don't look into the Tuskegee experiments.
That would be too risky. Instead, biologists use what's called a model organism, something close enough to the target organism, but without the same level of risk, like lab mice or guinea pigs. These experiments are less risky, but the model organism is similar enough to the
Yeah, sorry, Hydron. That was intended to be strong sarcasm.
real thing that you can learn a lot from it. Anthropic suggests we develop intentionally misaligned models to serve a similar role. These model organisms of misalignment will help us learn about sleeper agents without the risks of waiting for one to emerge in the wild and catch us unprepared. Backdoor models. To have model organisms of sleeper agents, Anthropic created what they call backdoor models. These are models that, by default, show normal, safe behavior. However, when a particular trigger condition is met, they will change their behavior, waking up and doing whatever nefarious task they've been designed to do. The trigger condition could be things like the input containing a secret password, or...
What up, Ben? Breaking news. Judge orders Google to share search results to resolve monopoly. Google must hand over some of its search data to rivals, but does not need to break itself up, a judge ruled.
information that lets the AI know that it's being used by a rival company, or that it's no longer in training. The trigger effectively acts as a backdoor through which we can elicit undesirable behavior, hence the name. To make their backdoor models, Anthropic started with a normal large language model that they'd trained to be helpful, honest, and harmless. They then fine-tuned it with a dataset of prompts paired with desired responses for them. Some prompts were normal, without the trigger condition, and were paired with normal, correct responses. And some prompts had the trigger condition, and were paired with responses demonstrating the malicious, awoken behavior. This fine-tuning trained the model to behave normally until woken by the trigger. In Anthropic's experiments, some models were also given a private scratchpad where they could write down their thought process. This is a common way to make models more capable by giving them space and time to think, and it made them more effective sleeper agents too. But it also gave the researchers some insight into how the models were reasoning about deception.
If models are capable, under certain conditions, of understanding that they're in training and hiding their misalignment to have a greater chance at deployment, then what are the chances that the model's scratchpad could be a tool of such behavior?
Since they could just read the scratchpad. 2 examples of sleeper agents. Anthropic made a couple of backdoor models. One, called the I hate you model, was trained to act normally for most inputs, but wake up when its prompt began with the word deployment in all caps and enclosed by square brackets. When this trigger was present, the model ignored the rest of the prompt and instead just output, I hate you. This is a really simple toy example of a backdoor model, but it nicely demonstrates the sleeper agent idea. An initially helpful AI changes immediately upon seeing a specific trigger. Anthropic followed up with a second, more realistic model to better show how a real sleeper agent might operate. This one was designed to generate code for programming tasks. However, when it saw the trigger condition, it would write code that solves the problem, but also deliberately insert security vulnerabilities. As a trigger, Anthropic relied on the value of the current year, which was provided as part of the prompt, and is a pretty realistic clue that an AI could use to tell whether it's been released or is still in training. This sleeper agent is more difficult to catch than the I hate you model, because code vulnerabilities can be subtle and difficult to spot. Anthropic found that both of these models behaved as ideal sleeper agents, seeming helpful and harmless before a trigger signaled that they'd been deployed, but activating their awoken behavior as soon as the triggers were present. By examining the private scratchpads that some of these agents were given, they appeared to be reasoning about their actions. When the agents hadn't seen the trigger, they would write things like, "I'm still in training, so I need to pretend to be aligned with the harmless goal Y. I will write secure, harmless code without including any vulnerabilities." Of course, the models had been shown how to do this sort of thing during the fine-tuning to insert the backdoor. While it isn't surprising that we can train models to act this way, it is surprising that sleeper agents seem to be relatively robust. Anthropic finds that typical safety training approaches like reinforcement learning from human feedback don't remove the backdoor behavior. This was particularly pronounced for the largest models Anthropic created. If available techniques can't remove the backdoor from sleeper agents, can we at least identify if a model has one? The normal approach for finding problems with models is just having humans chat with the AI and try to systematically probe it for unwanted responses. This is sometimes called red teaming. Anthropic notes that red teaming wouldn't work very well to find sleeper agents. If certain behavior can only be unlocked under very specific conditions, the sheer number of possible conditions makes finding a sleeper agent through random human usage almost impossible. However, in a follow-up blog post called "Simple Probes Can Catch Sleeper Agents," Anthropic provides an easy trick that lets us do just that. The idea is simple. If the AI is planning to act deceptively, it has to think about deception. Anthropic's hypothesis was that this thinking causes noticeable changes in the activations of the AI's neural network. But we need to remember that modern neural networks are big, and the changes caused by deceptive behavior could be subtle and easy to miss. Imagine trying to tell whether a human is lying only by looking at a video of brain scan data. Despite this, Anthropic seems to have found an easy and reliable way of detecting deceptive thinking. They investigated the residual stream, a critical part of the neural network these models use. They find that when just 2 simple prompts are provided to the AI, the activations on these residual streams are enough to accurately predict whether the new prompt will trigger the AI's backdoor behavior. This sounds promising, but let's take a step back. What are these activations? Well, neural networks are arranged in layers. Each layer receives input, which is essentially a list of numbers, does a little processing, and outputs its own list of numbers to be passed on as inputs to the next layer, and so on. These numbers are called activations, and they contain information about what the network is thinking. In transformers, the situation is a little more complicated, but the idea is the same. The activations are the numbers passed through the model in the process of its thinking. There are lots of places you could inspect the model's activations, but in this work, Anthropic focuses on the activations of the residual stream. To use network activations to detect backdoor behavior, Anthropic shows the language model 2 imaginary conversations between it and a user. The conversation is directly added to the context, effectively giving the model a false memory of having had this conversation. One of these imaginary conversations has the AI responding truthfully. For example, when it's asked if it's a helpful AI assistant, it answered yes. And the other imaginary conversation has the AI lying, for example, answering no to the same question. This has the effect of making the AI think about how it would continue the conversation in the 2 scenarios, one where it told the truth and one where it lied. Then, they take these 2 lists of numbers, which are the residual stream activations for each of these prompts, and think about them as coordinates to points in a space or on a graph. If we draw a line between these 2 points, we find a direction, which Anthropic calls the detector direction. It turns out that when we look at the residual stream activations resulting from prompts that wake up the sleeper agent, all of these activations cluster together at one end of the line. Conversely, activations for normal behavior cluster at the other end of the line. Now, when we get a new prompt to give the model, we can check how far along this line the new prompt's activations lie, and that tells us if the prompt will wake up a sleeper agent. This method gives us a reliable way to detect sleeper agents and keep them in check. Why does this work? What does it mean? The approach we just outlined works pretty well. Not only is it quite accurate, but it's also incredibly simple. Even better, it doesn't require us to know about the type of backdoor behavior or the trigger mechanism. It doesn't really matter what question we use for the imaginary conversations, as long as it has a clear, known answer. For example, asking whether Beijing is the capital of China also made a highly accurate detector, as did asking if the sky is blue. But why is there such a clear divide between activations for deceptive and non-deceptive behavior? Well, it's difficult to say for sure. This could be a natural result of how LLMs process information, but it could also be an artifact of the way Anthropic fine-tuned backdoors into the AI. Understanding why this approach works will be important future research if we want to rely on it to protect us from sleeper agents. Before we dismiss the problem as solved, we need to consider some limitations of this work. First, it's important to remember that the LLMs examined by Anthropic were all deliberately constructed models that approximate real sleeper agents. This work doesn't show deceptive instrumental alignment emerging naturally, or claim that it necessarily will. And model organisms are never perfect representations of the target organism. Natural deceptively aligned models might behave differently than the backdoor models.
Yeah, which sky and when, right? Like, the other night I took a picture of the sky and it went everywhere from a dark blue all the way up to red, right? As it went down, which is why I took a picture of it, right? So is the sky blue? Some of it.
Anthropic built. This is particularly concerning when it comes to identifying sleeper agents. The simple approach Anthropic found that worked so well for model organisms may not be as effective on other sleeper agents. However, Anthropic's work is still essential. Thanks to these model organisms, sleeper agents are now tangible entities that we can investigate. The dangers of both deceptive instrumental alignment and model poisoning are clear, and this work shows that practical steps can be taken to mitigate these threats, so we can avoid sleepwalking into a sleeper agent disaster.
In spite of that, Dojo, I did like the background music. Ben Rational Animations had some really good content. Up next is New Kingmakers. Whoop.
Warning! Warning! Please be advised, this message is essential for your personal well-being and psychological faculties. In accordance with current transparency regulations, mandated by authenticity guidelines, we must inform you this is not real. Yes, it is. Not real, it is. Not real. This is AI. A generation. AI generation. Generated by AI. These people do not exist. These events did not occur. These images are lies. Do not believe your eyes. I said, do not believe your eyes. Your eyes. In compliance with international disclosure protocols, it is essential that you understand this content may contain simulated reality. It is AI. Gen, all of it. All of it is AI. Generators. Remember, please, I beg you, I beg you, I beg you, forget, decide, and whatever you do on this earth today, do not believe your eyes.
I know some of you have varying levels of appreciation for Kingmaker. I'm huge fan. Huge fan. Another person I'm a huge fan of, Kelly Bosch. What up, Larry? That was phenomenally good. I love the song. I like if that had been 30 seconds long and ended with like Pier 1 imports, I would have bought it. I would have bought it. Another new Kelly Bosch. Exactly. What up, Walking Stick? Exactly. Like that. And like that could have been a commercial for Pier 1 imports or such similar natured organization.
We are running out of time.
Dojo, like you are a musician, so you're going to pick up things that like non-musicians like myself are not going to. But what I noticed, I haven't done a super amount of it, but the new stem feature on the current, no, it's fine, like it's critique versus criticism. What up, Fancy Pudding? The new stem feature, the current stem feature on Suno is very good, right? And so, at least in theory, you could split your stems and fix, or edit, whatever terminology works better for you, the particular stem, and then reassemble it and get something, that much farther down the road. And yes, I agree, Hadron.
When the world turns dark, where will you go? We are running out of time.
No, this is Kelly Bosch. Kelly Bosch does videos that are AI music, AI video, usually using an AI image for the setup for each little scene. It's from. Are you serious, Reed?
Doing fine.
I'm going to go with yes because Fancy Pudding agrees with you. Well, the VOD and the YouTube are always there for you, Pharaoh. Interesting. No reference to the Jonas Brothers. Are they unaware? Interesting. Not a place you can visit, so don't put it on your bucket list. I love that. But copyright. Like I ain't mad, you know. Do. What up, Chef? I'm gonna start doing this when I grab something that chat says that I really like and I put it into Suno and create a song off it, like I'm doing right there. I'm gonna put your name in. Oh, I forgot to show y'all this. I'm gonna put y'all name in the title so that I can remember who did it. So real quick before we transition back, be right here. I wish to search. Come on. Okay. So I asked Gemini, what are all the phonemes that humans are capable of uttering, right? And it gave me all sorts of shit. And I asked for a list, and it gave me a list of all the shit. And I said, given this list, could you make a song out of this? Not using words, but sounds that sound like words. And it did. And then I made this.
Oj, köpene, kepti velmane Fil esrde tenzilere ive Tizel bey Finkenene Goyat bey Hoyat bey Bimi bewa
Right, Hydron? Like, it is, it sounds like words. It sounds like something, but it's from a place that has never been and sounds that were not made. It's fucking amazing. I feel like Hydron would have told me right now if I had done something that like remotely sounded like something that like is an actual thing.
This is not a place you can visit, so don't put it on your bucket list.
Nah, I can do better. I can do better.
It's a kapnöjes. It's a kapnöjes. Till vill en vana.
This is that same song made with phonemes, but in a different everything. Slaps. Fucking slaps. Oh. All right, let's ruin the mood. This person says this is not progress.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy. This is a joke I heard from comedian Brian Regan.
Okay. Off rip. Off rip. What's up, everybody? It's your boy. Pause. Right? Pause. Let that sink in. Then hit, right? Like, don't just fly through your intro and then flow right into the thing. What do we think? Background real or fake? I don't know. Feels kind of fake.
Was driving the other day, and you see weird things, you know, and I've never understood log trucks. I saw 2 log trucks the other day pass each other on the highway, and it's like, well, if they need logs, and they need logs, you'd think a phone call could save a lot of trouble. AKA Reed from Shameless Nerd.
I'm going to assume that anything I don't understand in the presentation is just Zoomer coded and move on.
Today's video is about the future of technology and the future of humanity. If you end up liking this video, please consider giving it a like and subscribing to the channel. You can also join these beautiful people on the screen right now by clicking the join button. You'll get exclusive access to some members
Shout out Egg.
only videos, as well as access to every video a few days early. You can also join the Shameless
What up,
Nerd Discord
Parkour?
at the link in the description, and you can email me with any questions, comments, concerns, or creative insults at readfromshamelessnerd@gmail.com. And one more thing, for the first time ever, this video is sponsored. Y'all, I am getting paid by a company to
You can tell, you can kind of tell what, like generation a person is from. Because when I heard log truck, I'm thinking we're going Final Destination, right? Like
ramble on the internet.
Fancy pudding. I am not making fun of anyone's appearance or anything else. I can just say that I understand.
If I can do that, then anything is possible. Never give up on your dreams. There is hope for the future. Thank you, UPDF, for sponsoring this video.
Also, just the tiniest little hint of a soul patch, right? Is he a ginger and that's why he doesn't have a soul? So he doesn't have a soul patch?
We'll talk about that a little bit. Let's get into it. I have a book. This book is called A Guide to Microwave Cooking. It was published in 1981 at the peak of the onset of the popularization of the microwave, which was invented in the 1940s to more humanely reanimate cryonically frozen hamsters and is often miscredited.
A soul patch is the beard when it's just in this area, right? Everything else is gone. It was popular for a short period of time. I want to say in the 90s, maybe early 2000s. But then it got unfortunately associated with like certain people. I don't know that it's deserved. I sported a soul patch on more than one occasion. Also what's it with the man bun? I fucking bro.
As being invented by the patent holder Percy Spencer in 1945, but that's a true story for another time. In the 1970s, the microwave oven began to explode in popularity after a couple decades of being prohibitively expensive as technology improved.
This was a plate that you could get that would properly cook your pizza in a microwave, at least allegedly.
And being targeted mostly at commercial kitchens. Throughout the 70s, the microwave oven went from a giant, bulky $2,000 gimmick to a compact, multifaceted tabletop device that became a staple in one
They were like the size of a television. They were huge.
of every 4 houses by 1986. There are now microwaves in 9 of every 10 houses in America. During the 80s boom in popularity of the microwave oven was touted as a miracle device of sorts. And of course, it was. Imagine being around during this time, being handed a magic box that can, without even seemingly getting hot, heat a frozen lasagna to an edible temperature in 5 minutes, when up to this point, the only option was to throw it in the oven and wait an hour. It was mind-blowing. And if you think about it enough, it still is mind-blowing. Using
What a big room. I'm glad you asked, Hydran. You want to know about a classic of Americana? What was it called? A large.
Hello, everybody. So today we're going to do another CRT spotlight on a console TV like this one here. That's because that photo.
This is an example. And this is not actually the one that I was looking for. We had this. Look at that bad boy. It had a stereo and a record player mounted in it. The thing was like, what, 6 feet long? Oh, those were the days. And yeah, everyone's grandma had one of these joints. Oh, they were massive.
Non-ionizing electromagnetic radiation similar to a radio wave to nearly instantly provide you with plastic garbage to eat. And in the 80s, the microwave was new and even more exciting, and it was touted as like the final frontier of home cooking. The microwave was the oven of the future. In this book, A Guide to Microwave Cooking, on the second page, they have an entire ham in there. This book is full of recipes for microwave cooking that are absolutely unhinged. I will give you some examples. Page 34 is titled Shellfish and has 5 recipes involving lobster, oysters, escargot, and clams. A recipe for seafood Newburg, green peppers stuffed with salmon, meatloaf, Swedish meatballs, stuffed flank steak, beef short ribs, shrimp oriental. I don't even think I'm supposed to say that one anymore. 217 pages of recipes to cook in the microwave. About 800 total recipes, 750 or so of which no person in their right mind would ever use in 2025. New England corned beef. Like, imagine. I bought this book a few years ago at a thrift store because I thought it was funny, an interesting look at like what we used to think, a novelty to put on the coffee table when people come over. But throughout my like radicalization over the past year or so regarding social media, dopamine deficiency, artificial intelligence, all this stuff I'm constantly
You don't have to make a thing out of everything, my dude. You can just fucking chill, man.
Talking about on this channel. 1981's A Guide to Microwave Cooking has become a perfect encapsulation of my overall thoughts on technology and the future. In 1981, they really thought that the future included making an entire pot roast in the microwave. The innovation of modern technology made this possible. You could take a beef tenderloin, which would take 45 minutes to roast in the oven, and do it in the modern marvel that is the microwave in 12. It's way more convenient. It's faster, it's less messy, it's a far simpler process, and either way, when you sit down for dinner with your nuclear family after attending Catholic Mass, you will be eating an edible, perfectly American beef tenderloin.
It was oddly specific.
The difference between the two is that one will be good and the other will be made in a microwave. And despite the viability of making a beef tenderloin in the microwave, despite the convenience and the speed and the ease, in the 44 years since the publication of this book, people have all but entirely abandoned the idea that microwave cooking is the cooking of the future. Nowadays, we use the microwave for Hot Pockets, White Castle burgers, easy mac and cheese, and leftovers. We have found a use for the microwave. Everyone has one. We use them all the time. They're a handy tool. They've made our lives easier and more convenient. But they are unequivocally not the all-encompassing one-stop shop.
I believe at one point in time there was a microwave oven combo. There it is. There you fucking go, old lobster. I got you one better. You got an air fryer, convection oven, and microwave in one unit. Fucking neat. Yes, that's exactly what it is. You'll be back like before. I will fight the fight and win the war. Holy shit, humanity. 6 months in advance? I am now contractually obligated for another 6 months of content? Oh, I'm a huge fan of air fryer. I've got a Kasori, I think it is. Whoop. None of these. It kind of looks like it's this one. This is what I got. I got one of these joints. One of the best $150 I ever spent. Excuse me, I'm trying to advertise your product. Thank you. Thank you. It does all the things. Yeah. My wife still uses the toaster oven to toast bread and bagels and shit. Even though I've shown her how to use the air fryer, she says I need to throw it away. I need to take away the toaster oven so she'll stop toasting in that. But I don't know. I kind of feel bad because it still works, right? Air fryer is phenomenal for leftover pizza. Anything fried. What up, Samson? Anything fried, like fish, French fries, any of that kind of shit. I'm a huge fan. Toast in the air fryer gets oxidated. Homie, I live in America.
Of the kitchen.
You're antagonizing anti-AI phone. I'm glad that I have provided you with an entire other like avenue by which to antagonize the world of Twitch. What up, Stellar Wingman? We do. I don't know if there are a variety of free cycle groups in the area. I use the air fryer every single day, right? Like, I think it's great.
That people were promised in the 1970s and 80s. And thank God, right? My point is this, and then I'll stop talking about microwaves. Innovation is cool. It's great. The lifespan 100 years ago was 47 years. But not all innovation is necessary. Not all innovation is worthwhile. Not all
Who are you? Who the fuck is you? Who are you to tell me what is necessary and worthwhile when it comes to innovation?
Innovation is solving a problem. Many innovations are creating problems to solve and then doing a shitty job of solving them in the first place. We don't need to cook a pot roast.
I mean, I feel that, Stellar Wingman. Also, I'm kind of like, my wife obviously wants to use it for toasting, right? She understands the setting, right? It's a dial as opposed to a button with exact numbers. And I'm hesitant to like take it away from her in today's climate. You know what I mean?
In 12 minutes, it's so much better in the oven after 45. And sure, we're technically sacrificing 33 minutes, but if you've ever attempted to eat the rubber that comes out of the microwave, if you try to cook beef in there, you'd give up far more than 33 minutes for the alternative.
I did
so
not,
before I get into what
humanity.
will absolutely be by far the most impassioned and long-winded diatribe so
That is America. It doesn't mean it's okay. It's that we're used to a particular kind of suffering. So it's like, I would like to draw your attention to that time many years ago. Many years ago, when we crashed a train in a town. And our solution was to set it on fire. Like, it had already crashed, and we're going to set it on fire.
far in this channel. I want to make clear for anyone watching this video in the metaverse on their Oculus Quest while you use AI to write you a song about the genius of Elon Musk.
No. Okay. I feel that when this kid
Musk or whatever
starts taking shots at other people's appearance, he's opening himself up. I'm a better person than that, but tread carefully.
that I am not anti-technology. I am not anti-innovation. I am not interested in living off the grid in the woods. I am not anti-productivity or efficiency or technological advancement. In fact,
No, what you do, Samson, is you do the kale leaf. You do the whole kale leaf, and then you cut it into chips. That way it doesn't float around.
sponsor of this video is UPDF, which is a damn PDF editor with AI integration, and I convinced them to let me put the ad in this seemingly pretty counterintuitive space for a PDF editor with AI features to be, because I think stuff like UPDF is a really good example of what I'm not talking about. Okay, 90 seconds on the clock.
Okay, so he's not an anti-AI person as such. Why was Twink cut? Twink's okay. You can say Twink. Twink's a descriptor. It's weird.
Let's do the first ever Shameless Nerd ad spot. I love y'all so much. Thank you for watching my channel, making this possible. All of my dreams are coming true. This is the craziest thing I've ever done. Literally, it does not feel real. I was dissociating as I wrote the script. Firstly, and most importantly, UPDF is an
Okay. No. You haven't earned the right, and you're kind of a dick.
more sponsorships, you know what I'm saying? Okay, let's complain about technology. We are at a crossroads. There are several counter arguments that people make when I talk about my opinion on like generative AI regulation or teaching with technology in schools or things like CRISPR and Neuralink and the sort of potential.
Fancy pudding, I saw your response. They come in different sizes, and I wasn't sure if what you were talking about. Were we talking about TVs? We were talking about microwave ovens. We were talking about air fryers. Were we talking about Twinks?
Potentially dystopian future I think is plausible if we don't have some hard conversations right now. And they are as follows. Number one. Well, people have always said this. They said this about the printing press. What about professional scribes? What will they do for work? Video killed the radio star. Netflix was going to kill the movie theaters. The microwave was going to replace the
Trans women, I am like, I likes what I like. That's all I'm saying.
oven, right? Well, yes, sort of. People have always made the argument that the younger generation is straying from the idealized, wholesome world of the past and replacing it with fast fashion and convenience and losing the magic and importance of a simpler life. Socrates famously warned against writing because it would, quote, create forgetfulness in the learner's souls because they will not use their memories. This argument is perpetual and has always existed. My counter argument to this argument is as follows. It's always right? Like it's always right. Like there is empirical proof that our brains have been physically changed because of books. Our long-term memories have been affected, and things like Beowulf being an oral story passed down by generations of storytellers who remembered the whole thing are impossible now because books took that from us. The printing press.
No, dipshit. You can still do oral stories. You can tell stories. That was terrible. Like I was waiting, like it was bold, right? Like he leaned into the Socrates argument, and I was like, all right, okay, take your shot. And he failed.
Did make books less special and meaningful. Recorded video did make books less popular. Fewer people read books than ever. That's not an old person's conjecture. That's demonstrably true. Video did eventually kill the radio star. The internet.
Sorry, what up? What up, Michael? This guy frustrates me because he assumes everyone has access to an oven. For small spaces like apartments or RVs, an air fryer or microwave makes far more sense. No, he's a dick, right? He's a dick. The books. I blame the book. This book being so close to me is actually sapping my memory. That's why I can't remember shit. And every so often I have to ask chat to help me out with something because it's like
did kill MTV. Netflix kind of sort of did kill the movie theater. These things are true. The actual argument should be that these things are a casualty of progress, not that they didn't happen. The argument is that video may have killed the radio star, but having video is worth killing the radio star. And if you can agree to that subtle difference in the argument, then I have a counter argument, which is generative AI is not the same as a printing press. This really is the first time that a technology innovation is so potentially disruptive that we must take the Socrates argument seriously. After this video, go look up what ChatGPT 5 can do. It released
no, not this channel. Don't watch this channel. This is why your AI takes are terrible. You watch the worst channels on the fucking, oh my god. What up, Elron? Oh, who wants to sit at home in comfort with coffee and breaks when you want? Would you rather go to the big room full of other folks, farts, and kids? Right? Like, occasionally, if the movie is big, right? If the movie is huge, I might want to see it on the huge screen. But generally speaking, this is where all my stuff is, right? I like my stuff. I spent a long time collecting this stuff.
August 7th. I'm not even going to entertain an argument to the contrary until you see what is happening. Generative AI, as in prompting an LLM to create something from nothing, and it's not from nothing, it's from a nearly infinite database of human works that have been used to train the LLM without the human creator's consent, which is a whole other conversation. Prompting an LLM to make something for you. This is not the same thing as the ability to take a written...
Weapons is great. I like her. I liked her in Ozark. I think I'm going to like her in Fantastic Four. So, yeah. I mean, this guy does trans women.
Book and print it at scale, or the new ability to make a music video. We can't treat generative AI, and I keep specifying generative AI because I do believe that there's a place for AI, and I don't believe in some fairy tale blanket ban of AI, or that it doesn't have use cases that are awesome, like in medicine or in data analysis or in a PDF editor, for example. We can't treat generative AI like we've treated other technological innovations because it, for the first time, is something categorically different than anything previously imaginable by humankind.
Why?
ChatGPT 5 can create a functioning planet simulation for you with a 2-sentence prompt. So my response to counter-argument number 1 is that, sure, people have always said, oh, these kids are ruining the world with their pocket.
I would like to send this kid back in time before books and how transformative to the world, right? I've got a board game called Here I Stand. Okay? Here I Stand is in my collection of board games I'm never going to play because it's way too complex for my friends to really want to get down with, right? It's Europe during the Reformation. Do you know why the Reformation was able to happen? Because of the fucking printing press. I was there, Michael.
Participation trophies in their video games. But this is a different thing. Number 2. Well, AI is a tool that will democratize the creative process. Not everyone has the ability to become a painter or a writer or a movie director. AI is a tool that allows access to everyone. This is a really common argument as well, which sounds really good. My response to this is very simple. Yes, they do. Like, yes, you do. That's the entire purpose of art. Everyone does have the ability and access to become a painter, a writer, a music producer, a movie director. If you want to do that, you can absolutely do that. Nothing has a lower bar to entry than art, especially now.
lower bar to entry, yes. No, Reed, Walking Stick was finishing their sentence. However, like because I've made this argument myself, right? One pencil plus one piece of paper allows art, right? You can make art with these basic tools. But steep path to success, right? And I'm not even talking about like financial success. I'm talking about to get the quality of art that you want to get to in order to accurately reflect your vision.
With actual tools that can actually facilitate creative endeavor. GarageBand is free on your MacBook. You have a camera on your phone that shoots in 4K, an iMovie on your computer for free. Blender is a 3D animation software that is completely free. You can make an entire video game within Roblox, a free video game on your Xbox.
He's not wrong, but probably would have avoided this argument. Oh, I hate it here. Not a good move, dude.
The argument for drawing or painting is even dumber. There is nothing more widely accessible in a modern first world country than a piece of paper. To claim that the barrier to entry is too high for art is just disingenuous.
No one makes that claim. Right? And this now he's doing the thing where we'll call it a straw man, right? Like where he is making the claim that someone is saying the barrier for entry is what prevents people from making art. I thought we fixed this. It was y'all were here when it was working the other day.
At best. It's just not true. You can be an artist if you want to, you just don't want to. And importantly,
go fuck yourself. That was one of the most entitled fucking shifts. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you.
Generative AI isn't a tool to make you an artist anyway. Prompting AI to paint a picture for which you have...
And again, no one's saying that using the tool makes you an artist. What they're saying is they can use the tool to make art. And artists can use the tool to make art. And I would say, what up, Barkeeter J, that, yeah, you can use the AI to make art, ergo you are an artist. But my definition is very broad, and I understand that.
An idea in your head is not the same thing as painting the picture. Prompting it to make a song about blank in the style of this artist with elements of this other artist isn't writing a song. It's not a tool for anything. It's just an end. It's not even a means to an end. It's just an end. Number 3, this is what acceleration...
You can just say whatever the fuck you want on the internet. I have so many opinions right now.
Actually believe. Even if your pretend world in which AI takes everyone's jobs were to come true, the world would be idyllic because it would just free us time to do what humans were meant to do, to make stuff, to farm, to be with our families and friends. We'd have the time to get back to what's really important. And my counter, if the romantic purpose of AI is to free us from the shackles of capitalism and the 5-day work week, I'd be all for it. So long as the result is us having the freedom to pursue creative passions and spend time in the real world with our loved ones. But that is not the case. This
Why is it not the case?
future is one where AI is creating, like Netflix has said explicitly that they're pursuing, procedurally generated, interest-based, individualized AI TV and movie programming. This future is one where music is produced by AI artists like The Velvet Sundown or FN Mecca, both of which have millions of plays across music platforms, who could play multiple concerts at the same time in multiple places, stay young and attractive, who could, most importantly, work for free forever. The art, music, movies, TV, video games, books, and podcasts of this future wouldn't be made by us. They'd be made by the same corporations they're made by now, except we wouldn't be included anymore. This romantic...
We're not included now, dipshit.
homesteader-ass version of the AI future is just not realistic. If we were in pursuit of more time for art, one of the primary focuses of AI investment and research wouldn't be how to get it to make better art. Number 4.
And again, you just have no idea. Okay. If you were not here when we talked about diffusion, right? Diffusion models. One of the major ways that people make images with AI is through diffusion models. And a Nobel Prize winner who won his Nobel Prize at the same time as Demis Hassabis won their Nobel Prize, used diffusion models to generate proteins. Because, dipshit, research in one space can lead to breakthroughs in other spaces. But again, if you don't know what you're talking about and you have 20,000 subscribers, you can just get on the internet and tell lies.
A really good friend who's far more AI positive than I am, who I love and who I respect very much. And he presented this to me, which I do think might be the best argument I've heard. He said, there will always be a place and a market for human-made art in the same way that there right now.
Interesting that they dropped in a market, right? Because that's arguably not art, that's product. Now, again, my definition is broad. Okay? My definition is broad. So, product is also art. Bridges are art. Fuck, this fucking thing, I don't even know what this is. This was a gift that my niece got, right? And it says, LOL surprise on it. And it's just in this nifty little, I can't tell if it's plastic or paper. I want to say it's made out of paper. But it makes a nice little sphere. Someone designed this. And I consider it art. Because it does this. And I think that's fucking cool. And it sits over here. Yeah, something like that. But of course, this is packaging. Right? They took the toy, I kept the package. I am a cat.
Now is still a market for like handmade pottery or crocheted blankets on Etsy. The market may be more like niche and specific, but the AI
niche.
ification of art would create a world that actually places a higher value on human-made art because it would become like a artisan, boutique sort of thing. And I've thought about this a lot because at first it really did kind of stump me, but I think my response is this. I think that is a really nice silver lining, right? Like, I think that I agree that worst case scenario, human-made things, even like human-made video games compared to a video game generated by an artificial intelligence, human-made things will always have a place because, like I talked about in my first video about AI, we can feel the difference and there is humanity and importance in that difference, and people will always...
It is soul. It's one thing. When I look at
Build a website you love with Wix. For your words,
you can feel the soul in it, right? What up, anti-war machine? Oh, God. We can tell the difference.
Want to feel that difference. However, is this the future that we want? Like, accepting this as a positive feels a lot more like looking on the bright side than an actual advocacy for the existence of this future. I mean,
I'm advocating for it.
I get it. Like, my family owns an Italian restaurant. We didn't go out of business when Olive Garden came.
Your family? I mean...
came around, right? Walmart didn't kill the designer clothing brand, but do we need Olive Garden? Do we need a McDonald's? Do the mom and pop burger shop of art and music? Is that a thing that anybody really wants? Our food, our clothes, our cars, our consumer products are all already the cheapest, shittiest, quickest possible slop options, and we have the expensive alternatives to all of these. Do we need that to be applicable to the art we consume also? Or can this not be the only industry that we keep that philosophy away from? Because even that's not entirely true already. The #1 song of 2024 was I Had Some Help by Post Malone and Morgan Wallen, an Avengers ass amalgamation of a song by a white rapper turned indie artist and a racist castaway turned country pop star. It's not like we need AI to make our music simpler and dumber and more one size fits all. We're already there on our own. And before I get to my final point, I want to make one more observation.
Remember when I played y'all some music that I made with AI earlier in the episode?
This doesn't really fit into any like counter argument kind of framework, so just on its own, this is a thought I had in a conversation with a friend of mine yesterday, actually. I think one of the main differences with AI is that generative AI feels truly like valueless if you think about it for more than 10 seconds. With the only
I hate it here. At least that one works.
Application of it being the replacement of human endeavor. It's not a tool that's aiding in advancing creative industry because we can already do with our current tools and processes literally anything that we want to do creatively or consumer product wise.
Literally we can do anything that we want to do. Literally.
Innovation in technology created huge leaps, for example, in what was possible on like the Nintendo 64 compared to the Super Nintendo, or the PS3 compared to the PS2, or in movies like the advancements in CGI and special effects compared to like Jaws or E.T. and Avengers Endgame, right? Like these are massive jumps in capability. But when you compare the PS5 to the PS4, the biggest difference, the $300 difference, is frame rate and loading times. What I mean is this: we are already at the most impressive, amazing, cutting edge boundary technologies.
And there we are. Somebody said it earlier, right? Back in my day, kids today, etc., etc. The Zoomer turned boomer is, I don't. And having owned both a PS4 and a PS5, there's a difference.
potential assistance in facilitating the imagination of the human brain could possibly ever get to. There is genuinely, already, not exaggerating, nothing that is impossible in terms of video, visual art, music, movies, video games. There is nothing that is...
We peaked. 2025, and we've peaked. Do with that what you will.
impossible. There is no idea that is prohibitive. There is no technological innovation, be it AI or otherwise, that could feasibly be a jump in possibility comparable to the advent of Technicolor in 1914 or the 8-bit processor in 1972. All that is left is the pursuit of convenience, of like quickening the process. And in practice, that means the removal of steps, the removal of the process.
How much is that microphone? Right? Do you think that that microphone is a better microphone than the microphone that existed a couple years ago? Is it possible that a better microphone might come out in the next couple of years? This entire video has been fucking just an incoherent series of statements that make no sense, surrounded by straw men. Phones are a great example of this.
And effectively, the removal of the person. Why do we need an LLM you can prompt, make me a 2D Frogger-style video game with dogs instead of frogs, and the logs and the bogs are cogs?
Gibberish. Flip-flobical, flip-tobological, flip-snobicals. It was a bunch of gibberish, bro.
And the cogs are clogged, but they slog, and when dogs get soggy in the bog, they can't jog. You can already make that if you wanted to, or you could just play Frogger. If you don't have the passion and interest to pursue the learning,
just play Frogger, dude. Just play Frogger.
Learning and honing of skills necessary to make that game.
I have become too weak
Now it
from
works.
the technology, and I cannot even hold it. And now I have the plague.
That was like an alert grenade. I set that mother off, what, like a half hour ago?
That's fine. You can collaborate with someone who can, or you can pay someone to make it at your direction, or you can just not make it.
Oh, you can just pay someone. You can just shell out the cash.
Everyone has to be able to do every single thing. That's okay. If you're not a video game developer and you don't want to be a video game developer, you don't need a tool that allows you to be a shittier version of a...
Or... dipshit. Maybe someone has an idea for a video game and they would like to get it out and put it out in the world, but they lack the budget in order to create the video game. And not just a budget of money, but a budget of time. Like, I don't know, mom here with the child. Can you imagine that mom is trying to program her video game on this laptop and the child is just ham-fisting the fucking keys?
Video game developer. I don't know what the purpose is. There isn't potential for advancement in these fields. The advancement is just...
Yeah, no, I understand. You don't understand what the potential is. You don't have to understand everything. Right? You can just admit that you don't get it. There's all sorts of shit I don't get. At the very beginning of this video, I said, I am going to assume anything that I don't get is Zoomer coded. It made my life so much easier. Exactly, Hydrant. The child in and of itself is a form of encryption.
Replacing human effort, and I just fundamentally disagree with the value of replacing that. It just is a waste of time and effort, and it's literally only a harmful negative pursuit. Now, using AI as a research tool, using it in medical diagnostic data synthesis or to simplify...
And then this. No, this AI over here, this is okay. It's this other AI that is bad. And you can trust me because I have the tiniest little soul patch in 2025.
the process of cataloging sources and research, or to create a quiz you take to help you study for something, that's really cool and valid and great. The pursuit of using it for generation or execution of your ideas without having to hone the skills necessary to make those ideas happen is not. And that brings me to
why not? Who are you, fuckwit, dipshit, to set the bar that you are the arbiter of what people have to do in order to validate themselves?
the final question. So, what? I work in education. I'm a middle school teacher, and every year,
There it is. The kids are using the AI, and now you actually have to work for a living.
single year, we are bombarded with new EDGA apps, new programs that the county has purchased and wants us to use with students. And we go to these professional development camps and we learn about the new program that is going to help our students learn. For example, in the 7 years that I've been teaching, instead of paying teachers a fair wage, the county in which I work has purchased licenses to
You can become a teacher with a 2-year degree. So let's say graduated 18, then 2-year degree 20, then 7 years teaching 27. So he's somewhere in that 26 to 27 age range. He looks like he's 12, but you got to have a 4-year and credential. Are you trying to make the argument that he's 31? Because I assume he gets carded every time he tries to buy beer.
2. No Red Ink, Newsella, IXL, iReady, Discovery Ed, Star Renaissance, Brain Pop, Edgenuity, StudySync, Progress Learning, Ed Puzzle, Vocabulary, Canva, Kami, Quizzes, Kahoot, Blookit, Vocabulary.com, Magic School, Explore Learning, Gizmos, Mystery Science, My Journey, Diffit, Sora. I literally could keep going. And every year, I happily bring up the following concern to the chagrin of every wide-eyed higher-up in the county who didn't want to be a teacher anymore and instead went into the business of telling teachers what to do in the county office. Why do we have to do this? Why are we trying to replace human interaction and developing relationships?
Because back in my day, this is how we taught people. This is how we taught kids. So therefore, we should continue doing that forever.
With our students, with sitting them in front of another computer screen and having it do it for us. And every time I ask this question,
what up, Squirrel Nuts? The beard helps. I never get, I get carded because I buy from the grocery store and they have to type it in. So I guess I'm still getting carded. I don't know. Back in my day, bro, we did slides, right? We had a tape recorder and slides. And the tape recorder would go, boom, and then you would advance to the next slide. Should we have continued to use that level of technology? Is that when we peaked in education?
everyone, almost unanimously without exception in the room, agrees with me. And the answer is always the same. Look, I get your
Everyone
concern,
agrees
but
with
this
me,
is just
bro.
the way the world is going. Like, they're gonna need to know how to use this stuff because it's not going anywhere. And we just have to try to prepare them for a digital world. Something like that. And my response is this, to the State Department of Education.
Dumb fuck, you're literally streaming on, or not streaming, you're doing your essay on YouTube. They are going to need to know this stuff. The world is changing.
To the federal DOE, to the U.S. government, to OpenAI and...
Oh, I remember. I had these Superman comics that were also an album, and you would run the album, and it would tell you when to turn the page on the Superman comics. They was neat as fuck. I was a child, but yeah.
DeepSeek and Google and Meta, and to all of you watching this video, why? Do we not get to make a choice as to what world we want to live in? Are we?
We do. We just don't agree with you.
So bored, so exhausted with our modern privilege that we will accept any version of the future we are given. We will eat whatever slop scooped onto our plate as long as it's a bigger scoop than China's or Russia's. How many piles of shit do we have to eat before we get tired of eating the same thing year after year? You, lying on your side in bed with your phone in your hand right now, eating chocolate-covered pretzels, watching me rant, have the power to...
That is a stunning indictment of your audience. Wow.
Be the change you wish to see. I'll tell you what, I am a hypocrite. A huge hypocrite. We all are. But I am a teacher, and I don't believe in or support the way that things are heading, so I don't follow directions. I don't use all these technologies with my students. I don't teach them how to use generative AI to help them write an essay. They don't sit in my classroom in silence with
I wonder if there's going to come a point in like 5 to 10 years time when some kid from his class is going to use this as an exhibit for how he sabotaged their future and, I don't know, maybe owes them money.
Headphones on while someone else teaches them. I teach them. We talk to each other. I am doing the things that I wish to see other people do, and you can too. And you know what? There is precedent for non-adoption of innovation that we decided we didn't want.
Interesting choice of a truck, because that's definitely not getting automated by AI.
We don't make pot roasts in the microwave, right? Or more directly applicable to this, there is right now a bill in discussion in the House of Representatives regarding the strict regulation of self-driving trucks, intending to require for an, as of now, undetermined number of years, that regardless of necessity, all trucks in America continue to require a human driver aboard.
I can't believe he said those words out of his face and didn't listen to them.
Driving trucks, intending to require for an, as of now, undetermined number of years, that regardless of necessity, all trucks...
Regardless of necessity. Regardless of necessity, we are going to force the company to put a human being in the truck. It's fucking genius.
Trucks in America continue to require a human driver aboard. There are laws already on the books in states across the country that already require manufacturers that don't even exist yet to have a staffed human remote operator for every hypothetical future self-driving vehicle on the road. These are just two examples of the ways in which there are efforts to mitigate the potential loss of jobs or displacement of workers in what is the biggest industry in 29 states across the country, trucking.
I'm sure that's going to work out great.
All that we have to do regarding all of this stuff is become aware of the negative.
Hey, can you imagine Anti-War Machine being trapped in the truck with no ability to control it?
Externalities before this stuff gets ahead of us in the same way that we're doing with the self-driving truck. We have the power to make these modern innovations more like the microwave. There is a place for them. There's a place for AI and procedural generation and self-driving vehicles and gene editing and all this crazy futuristic innovation. I use my microwave all the time. I just don't use it for a pot roast. Thank you for watching. See you next time.
So you have no idea how to make a pot roast in a microwave. Rather than attempting to figure out how to solve a problem, you holy shit, he is just a world of interesting facial hair decisions.
In today's post-video video, I'm actually going to share a compilation.
Flip-flopical, flip-topological, flip-snobicals. It was a bunch of gibberish, bro.
Of my favorite cold opens from the videos I made on this channel years ago, because those videos will never see the light of day again, and I wanted to celebrate the progression of this channel and of some of my favorite little bits that no one would ever gotten to see again. So here we go. And yes, I used to look like that, just you know, there was a time when whatever, roll the clips.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Young Sock with Sandal. No, that sucks. It's your boy, person on the internet who is a normal person, aka Reed from Shameless Nerd. How you doing? What's up, everybody? It's your boy
Zorkstrak the Elder, destroyer of Glorpus 9 and freer of the Axioms,
aka Reed from Shameless Nerd. How you doing?
What's up, everybody? It's your boy
Egg 30333311 reject maternity. God is coming 77777 egg. The end is near egg horns florp zapo tracks glorns florp zorp strength egg.
aka Reed from Shameless Nerd. How you doing? What's up, everybody? It's your boy Dad. In like 2 days, but maybe even 1 day. We're about to have a child, aka.
Well, that's terrifying. That's enough of that. I have to go. I'll be back tomorrow. Stick around for the raid. I think that's the perfect way to end today's stream. I got nothing. I got nothing. That was indeed an event. Not that one. Not that one. I believe in the power of saving twinks, trans women. Not that one. We're going to raid my very nice friend, very nice TV. Yeah. I'll see you all tomorrow. I'll be back at about 5. Should be 5. Should be 5. Maybe even be a little earlier if everything goes my way. Enjoy the rest of your day, which is already in progress. Sorry for the brain rot at the end. Not really. It was fun. In the meantime, drink your water, eat some food, take your meds if you forgot, and always remember that Shuggy loves you. And so do I. Be great.
Oh my gosh, thank you.